Hey everybody, welcome to my new YouTube channel. My name is Ben Massey, and as most of you already know, the series is going to be about white-tailed deer, traditional bow hunting, and filmmaking, outdoor content creation. In this video, I kind of just wanted to briefly go over my history as a bow hunter, deer hunter, and filmmaker. Well, as a lot of people did, I started off as a young kid watching my dad go out to the woods with a bow or a gun and come back occasionally with a deer, but most of the time with nothing. And I remember tagging along with him on track jobs and just going and scouting as a kid, starting very young. I started going with my dad, sitting at his feet when he was sitting on a 5-gallon bucket on the ground deer hunting, and I would lay on a blanket, sleep most of the time. Occasionally Dad would shake my shoulder, wake me up and say there was a deer coming. I do remember one time actually watching 2 little bucks spar at probably 15 yards and just being in absolute awe with white-tailed deer. But actually, I kind of got sucked into bass fishing and actually had kind of a stint with tournament bass fishing as a late teenager. Had very little desire to hunt for deer, much to my dad's disappointment probably. For some reason, I'm not exactly sure why, deer kind of sucked me back in. When I was about 21 years old, I got excited to go out hunting for some reason. Looking back, I'm not exactly sure what got me into deer hunting, but I wanted to give it a try. So I went to Walmart, picked up some cheap camo, bought a license, and then took one of my dad's self bows that he made and went out to the woods. My first deer hunt. I knew nothing about it. Sat down. I think on the first hunt, maybe the second hunt, had a doe and a fawn come walking into 10 yards, and I remember shaking so bad there was no way on earth I was going to be able to draw my bow. I spent the rest of that fall chasing deer with a bow. Finally went out during shotgun season, shot my first deer, small buck, and I was hooked. Absolutely hooked with whitetail hunting. There was zero doubt that I was going to be a deer hunter. But I knew that there was something about bow hunting that I wanted to do because it was a longer season. So I got on eBay, bought a cheap like $100, $125 compound bow. Old. It was like an old PSE Fireflight 33. Shot my very first deer, I think on the first sit with that bow. Looking back on it, I can't remember. So after that first deer with a bow, I knew that that was what I wanted to do. From 2009 till now, I haven't brought a gun out into the woods, nothing against it, but just the thrill difference between shooting one with a bow and shooting one with a gun a month before, there was no comparison. Bow hunting had just wrapped me up and I was sucked in, and I knew that that was all I wanted to do. Those first couple years, I shot the first buck pretty much that walked by. I had very little discretion for what I was going to shoot. But as I progressed, I wanted to start shooting bigger deer because my season was extended by doing so. And I wanted the challenge of targeting a more mature animal. So that started kind of as a 3-year-old up to a 4-year-old, and now I'm up there where I'm trying to chase 4- and 5-year-old deer exclusively or older. But that challenge was always there. Hunting for mature deer is never easy, no matter what weapon you choose to bring with you. So in 2016, actually after killing that buck right there, my biggest buck, I started having some thoughts about maybe going over to traditional archery equipment. I remember watching some YouTube videos about it, seeing how successful some people could be. I actually remember watching one video specifically that just got me absolutely fired up for trying traditional archery. And if I can find that video, I'll go ahead and put that in the description below. But I also remember watching The Push, and that's a film put out by The Push Archery. Also an awesome YouTube channel. You need to check out their videos. I learned what I needed to about how to be accurate with traditional equipment and how to tune, how to aim. They went over everything I needed to know as a traditional bow hunter. So that kind of took the stress and the anxiety about switching over from a compound to traditional equipment away. And so I went ahead and purchased my first recurve. I think that was in January or February of 2017. Sold the compound. I did not want the crutch of going back to that piece of equipment. I wanted to push myself into traditional full steam ahead because I knew if I had that crutch, I'd go back to it, especially after my first few hunts. I knew that it was going to be difficult. I knew from everything I'd read and everything I had seen before that it was not going to be an easy road. I'm not saying at all that I'm an expert now, but I do have a couple seasons under my belt chasing deer. Killed my first deer with a recurve in the fall of 2017, October 25th, a big mature doe. And from then on, I knew that there was such a difference between killing one with a compound and a traditional bow. It was like the same difference between shooting one with a gun and shooting one with a compound bow. And I just knew that that challenge is so worth it. And I know that hunting mature bucks, like I said, is not easy no matter what weapon you use. But with traditional gear, I know that it's a pursuit that I just absolutely love. I've eaten my tag for the past 2 years on a buck, but I know that when that opportunity finally comes and that day finally arrives, it's gonna be a high that I've never had in the deer woods. That's where I'm at right now, as far as hunting is concerned, and you get to follow along with me as I dive deeper into my traditional journey. Now I wanna go ahead and pivot and talk a little bit, just a brief bit, about my videography background. So in 2011, a buddy approached me and said, let's start filming our hunts. I thought, sure, why not? So he had just gotten out of film school, taught me what I needed to know about the basics of a camera and filming. We both knew that video equipment in the deer woods was going to be a completely different experience. And obviously, I had just started deer hunting, 2 or 3 years prior, so I was still green as a deer hunter also. But we went out that fall, toted all the equipment, learned a lot about filming each other. I think we did a little bit of self-filming, but mostly just filming each other, and then editing, putting all those videos together at the end of the year and trying to piece together little episodes. We were having a blast. I was learning a lot about the editing process and just filming in general. So 2011, 2012, we filmed those 2 seasons together. And then in 2013 through 2016, I just kind of dabbled, filmed a little bit on my own, did a lot of self-filming, but I didn't really have an avenue to be putting the content out for people to be viewing. And so at that point, I was just filming to put stuff on my hard drive. Like, I had no point to filming other than I knew I wanted to document and tell my story through film. 2017 came along, ended up joining a web show to be able to show my content to viewers, to be able to kind of tell my bow hunting journey and show my progression as a whitetail deer hunter. I've been with the Knuckle Productions web show for a couple seasons. Great group of people, and I've thoroughly enjoyed being able to put my content out there and be able to tell my story. It's been also just an absolute blast because not only am I able to tell my story, my cousin Zach and I have been able to tag team, and we hunt a lot of the same areas. We film and hunt for a lot of the same deer. So it's been an absolute awesome experience. But this spring I thought, I want to dive even deeper into my filmmaking. And so what's that next step? Going back to digital SLR, a little bit more difficult, but a little bit higher production value video equipment. I wanted to learn how to piece together my own stories, learn the editing process, learn how all of it goes together, the whole process from beginning to end. So I bought the equipment, bought the software, and here I am, learning what I can about editing, piecing together stories, and just trying to put out the best content that I can provide at this time. Anyway, that's where I am now. You've seen the first episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't checked it out already, please go check it out. I wanted to go ahead and just end this video by saying thank you so much for tagging along with me on this journey, watching my filmmaking, my whitetail deer hunting, and my love for traditional archery. If you haven't already, please click subscribe. That helps me out a lot. Like this video, comment with any questions or content recommendations you may have. Like I said, this channel is mostly going to be about hunting, but I'll put a little bit of tutorials and product reviews in there also that'll revolve around filmmaking, outdoor content production, and hunting. So I want to end this episode by showing you guys a little montage I put together of some film from 2013 all the way through 2017. Just kind of chronicles some of my experiences in the deer woods and my progression from compound bow hunting to traditional in the past couple years. I hope you enjoy. Thanks a lot.